What's up, everybody? Welcome to ParksCenter for October 16th, 2022. I'm your host, Rob Whiteside. Thank you guys, as always, for being with us. We appreciate you. Please make sure to subscribe to WDWNT TV and click the like for this video so that everybody can find us. We appreciate you. Tonight, we have a great cast put together for you. Let's take a look at them. They're mighty finely dressed, everybody here with us. Starting with Stephanie. How are you?
I'm doing well. I'm excited to be here.
And Kamila.
Hi, everyone. Happy Sunday.
And Mr. Patrick Hackett.
This is the greatest moment of my life.
We had to. We coordinated. We coordinated. This is fantastic. Show the sleeves. Show the sleeves. The sleeves on those. Look at that. Look at that. This is all officially planned, folks. I mean, this is what we do for you. Thank you guys.
We did it for
Joseph,
you.
David, Steven, Hatbox Coast, Nico, Kate, Desi, Coach, Natalie, for all being in chat tonight. If you want to, please chat along with us in the chat, and then also we would love it if you super chat. It makes Patrick feel happy. So tonight we're going to start with some sad news. Unfortunately, there's our first discussion topic, and in our pressing issue category are the price increases that we've seen in the past week at Disney. And you're like going, Disney and price increases, those things go hand in hand. Rob, what are you talking about? This happens all the time. We just had a huge one in January. We should expect this kind of stuff. I feel like it's a weird kind of time to do this level of price increase. And I want to go straight to Patrick, not only because I love that shirt, dude. Where did you get that? But you were just in the parks, and you just squeaked by before this price increase.
I did not.
No? Oh my gosh!
I did
please
not.
tell it.
Yeah.
Tell us about it.
So, I am an avid user of Genie Plus, and I got hit first with the $5 price increase, and then luckily on the last day, as we'll get to later on, I was comped Genie Plus, and it was even more expensive that day. I believe it was like $22. I got hit with food and beverage charges literally in the middle of my trip. It was astonishing how fast price increases can happen. Kudos to the booths. It didn't seem to affect many of the festival booths. At least it seemed like it was rolling out a little bit slower there. But yeah, got caught from $15 to $20, and I believe on the day I left it was $22 per ticket for Genie Plus.
So we're going to talk about the Genie Plus thing in a second, because I want to talk about just the straight up price increases, including stuff like the idea that something as expensive as the lightsabers, right? So the lightsabers are already pretty freaking expensive and kind of like a top tier item. And they went in and they increased the prices of even the lightsabers. And Stephanie, I know you go a lot. I don't know, is the Lightsaber Experience something that you guys have done? Is this one of the bigger price increases that you've seen? What are you thinking about all this?
Yeah, this is out of our price range right now for anybody else to do. My twins have done it before. This was a couple of years ago, and they, are very much into Star Wars, and it was a wonderful experience. We had a wonderful cast, and they really played up the twins, aspect. Like Luke and Leia and Jack and Maisie are. So it was wonderful, but I feel bad for parents. I feel bad for families that really want to come and do these things, and then they're just priced out of it. They really are, because it's becoming more exclusive in that way, or you have to save up. That would be the other option, and just wait.
Well, and the price went from $219, which it started at $199, and they were like, we could take this to $220, and now it's $250. What? That's insane. I mean,
right.
Yeah, exactly. That's per person, right? So if you have twins, wow, that is a lot of money. Let me time out for a quick second, because we got a super chat from William K. William, thank you so much. $30. Wow. Let's Donald Duck. Oh, Patrick, hold your ears, buddy. Let's Donald Duck and go San Diego. $10.
Oh, God.
$10 for every Padres victory against the Dodgers this week. Go Padres and go
Woo!
ParksCenter. Best show on YouTube. Thank you, buddy. We appreciate
Wow.
you, and I'm kind of rooting for you, but I can't say anything further because people get mad. Also, Jungle Cruiser $9.99. Going to Mickey's Very Merry Christmas Party. What should I expect? Price increases are to be expected. They just want more profit. Yeah, but I mean, there are other things that they can do. So but Jungle Cruiser, thank you so much. We appreciate the super chat. Thank you so much for your thought. We will talk about Mickey's Very Merry when we go to Christmas stuff in a bit. So just let's put a pin in that one for a second. Kamila, let me come to you on the price increases because as everyone who watches the show knows, you have to do a lot of travel agent stuff. And now, like, does this affect you at all? Like, when you see these prices, do you talk to your people and go, you know what, before I was going to recommend all these things, but let me back off on a few? How do you handle that?
Yeah, and I will say, I think the worst thing about these price increases, particularly these ones that were announced around the lightsabers, the droid building, capture your moment went up higher, the food price increases, is it happened right as people were in the park. So you could have people who had, a droid appointment, a Savi's reservation for literally the next day, and they would have been impacted. And these are already expensive experiences. And I absolutely know firsthand that people do budget for these things and they kind of make it work, I feel like, in many cases, because it is expensive and you're already spending a lot of money just to be at Disney. And so what I hate is the fact that you could have people that, stayed up until midnight Eastern Standard Time, or, really worked hard to try to get these reservations that are hard to get. They do sell out, especially Savi's. And they could be thinking, okay, it's going to be this much. They could be budgeting for that. And now just overnight, the price increased significantly. And that does have an impact on people traveling to Disney. So I feel like that's actually the part that is kind of the most heartbreaking, is just the fact that you could have people in good faith who were already trying to take advantage of this really cool but pricey experience. And then Disney just kind of callously said, guess what? Now it costs more. And I don't even know if they gave people the option to cancel within that 24-hour period without charging them. So,
Wow.
It's just one of those things
That's...
where it hurts. It really, at the very least, if you're going to do something like this, give people more of a heads up. Don't do it overnight.
Well, and part of it is like the food went up, but some of it went up like a quarter. Some of it went up like $2. But this is $30 per person that this spiked up. This is one of the bigger ones. So yeah, I hope they were able to cancel that. I don't know if anybody's out there and booked one and wasn't able to cancel it, but definitely let us know. We'd be interested in knowing that. And keep in mind, we get that this is a business. We get that Disney is in a business situation and they need to raise prices, but good golly, like what, $4.25, $4.50 for a bottle of soda. That they, you can run down to Sam's Club real quick, get a 12-pack, drop it in the back of, Doc Ondar's, and then start like selling it at the droid cart,
I mean,
But,
I think you went a bit too
Contraband.
far with that, but yeah. So I Instacart all the time when I go, and I have a fridge, and I'm not paying that much for water. I'm not paying that much for soda. But this is what Disney is doing, and then they even get you with that, because I had deliveries to my room twice, and they charged me $6 each time they brought something to my room from Bell Services.
Wow.
$6. I feel bad for those cast members, because usually I'm a very generous tipper, but I was angry at that point in time. It's not on them, but like that's insane. Still, you pay that $6, you have a case of water in your room, get a really good cooler backpack. There's a ton of good ones on Amazon. And bring your own drinks, bring your own food, make them pay some way, shape, or form, because that's the only way to speak. Somebody, I don't know who was tweeting on the WWNT account at about 8:30 this morning, when, it's a corporate, the tweet is, a corporation that only cares about profits operates one of the most unique pieces of real estate on earth. One where thousands of artisans built a living, breathing display that many fall in love with as children. The place still holds that magic. and magic at what cost? That's kind of where we're at, and it's really, really well done, because that's how I felt. I told one of the cast members on the chat that like each and every time I went and had this moment of magic, there's something business oriented to pull me back down and remind me that my cognitive dissonance for supporting Disney can only go so far. You've heard me say it a bunch of times. I'm pot committed. I paid for a DVC. It's the most value to go there. When I get an annual pass, I try to maximize the value of that. But at what point is it too much? And at what point is this just profits for the sake of profits? It's not going to cast members. Their costs, their wage is way too low. It's going to the executives and shareholders. It's like, all right, if you tell me you're giving me a price increase, but you raise cast members' wages $2 an hour, all right, that's easier for me to swallow. I don't need Chapek. I don't need Josh tomorrow getting more money and not putting in the effort and the work to make this work. The cast members are the reason that they're still magic. It's just wasting away when you have to deal with this reality all the time.
Did you just besmirch Josh?
I did. He's just as bad. Just because he's a pretty face and he's doing a couple things here and there. I mean, he's still okay in these price increases. He's still, raking in. His handsomeness and humor can only get him so far.
Wow.
And I would say one thing about...
I don't even know you anymore. I'm sorry, Stephanie, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say about merchandise. So, there's a lot of collectors out there. I mean, look behind Patrick right there. No, but I collect the ear headbands, right? The mini ear band. So they went up, I think, excuse me, I think at 18%, I think is how much they went up. Right, by $5. But that puts you over the $30 price part. And I just feel like, when's the ceiling on that? Like, when's enough to wear something on your head? I get it if it's a limited edition or a lounge fly or some other material, Vera Wang, this kind of thing. But $30 for just your standard, that to me is too much. So I prefer to go to the homemade ones, like on Etsy. You can find some really creative, really beautiful products, or maybe even the Carousel of Products website for t-shirts instead of Disney, and spending my money ad nauseum at Disney already. So why am I throwing more at them with the merchandise?
Yeah, Patrick, you kind of stole my thunder, because I was going to give you credit for saying that you were too invested. You said that ever since you said that on a show, and some people say to us, well, you guys say you're Disney fans, but all you do is complain. Not true. We give credit where credit is due. We love the cast members. There are a lot of things about this, but your point especially, that you're too invested. You have DVC, so do I. You're an annual pass holder. Like I pull out my cards, and I am not, I have a full deck. It's D23 and it's, annual pass holder, and it's all these other things. And obviously we could stop doing that, but that is one of the things that resonates with me so hard when you said I'm too invested, because I think I'm emotionally invested in it to the point where it would be like debilitating to me. Yeah. To just stop because of how much, I love, the experience and the magic and all those things that it's brought me over the years, and my children and those things. So it just feels like when you've given so much to this company, and then they kind of slap you in the face, you go, yep, that's right, it is a company. I understand that, but some of the things almost don't seem fair. And especially, the fact that in Disneyland, they are not able to buy annual passes anymore, because they've kind of gotten rid of that system. But the ticket prices have increased now. So if you were already not able, if you're in California, and you were already not able to buy an annual pass, and now your one-day passes or 4-day passes have gone up, that's another slap in the face. It's almost like, hey, you used to be my friend. You used to give me this connection, and I was a member. I was part of your family. And then you said, you know what, we don't need you anymore. We got other family over here. We're fine without you. And then they came in and they said, okay, by the way, we've been asking you to buy one-day tickets. We're going to ask you to buy them for just a little bit more. And that's the kind of thing where I'm just like, I don't know. Kamila, thoughts on any of this? Or am I just babbling?
Yeah. No, I mean, it actually ties in nicely to something that I wanted to mention, which is I do think you can look at a number of these decisions and see where probably more than anything, they're demand driven. Because if you look at things like Capture Your Moment, Savvy's Workshop, these are things that sell out pretty quickly. And so, the fact that they do that consistently on any given day, I think tells Disney that, we can charge a little bit more and, people will still do this. And particularly when it comes to Disneyland, where I do think those price increases are significant. And Disneyland has been expensive for a while now. Even for me, there are times when it wouldn't have been a big deal to just buy a one-day ticket and pop over. Now I'm thinking about it a lot more, or I'm, flat out not doing it. But I think for Disneyland in particular, I saw someone talking about today the bus to get from the Toy Story parking lot, which is kind of like the value parking lot. It's not Mickey and Friends, which is the main one. That was a 45-minute wait to get on the bus to be driven over to Disneyland. And then you couldn't even park at the Mickey and Friends parking structure because there were no spots left. So, when we think about the reality of, the fact that it is a company, it is a business, they're going to keep charging and people are continuing to pay, and we're not seeing a reduction in people going to the parks yet. That may happen. But the last thing I wanted to say is, when I think about the most recent times, and I've been to Disneyland quite a bit more than I've been to Disney World, although I'll be in Disney World in just a few weeks, the magic, I do think, is still there. I mean, the last time I was at Disneyland, I was thinking it was going to be terrible. It was not going to have a good time. And I ended up having a wonderful time. It had been forever since I'd seen Fantasmic. I did the special dining package. I did Blue Bayou. So it's really tough. And I think, just like Patrick was saying, all of us are going to have to make these decisions about what our ceiling is. And maybe for some people that would go multiple times a year, you go once or you go every other year. But I feel like it's still a really special place and there's a lot there for everyone.
Okay. You know what? I'm just going to say, though, that the last thing on the price increase part, and there were so many this week, it was almost like, price increase, the pins, the shoulder, plush, everything, the kitchen sink, everything, including the kitchen sink. That's exactly everything had a price increase. You like that? That one's going on the card. But yeah, so we had the food increases. We had the mugs, refillable mugs went up $2. Already this rapid fill program has been kind of cheapened over time. This is the one that I find interesting, though.
This is the one that stood out to me too.
Okay, I don't know if it's for the same reason, so I'm not gonna talk first, Mila. You talk first.
Well, here's my only thing, and I'll be really, really quick. Think about Capture Your Moment. It's not like they're paying the cast members more, right? And Capture Your Moment, for anyone who doesn't know what it is, it's essentially where you can book a 20-minute session with a PhotoPass photographer. The photos taken are not included, so you still have to pay for those, or you have to have some type of memory maker package. But basically, you can have 20 minutes of one-on-one time with a PhotoPass cast member, which, a lot of people use that for special occasions, engagements, anniversaries, whatever it may be. Maybe you just want to get dressed up and be in the parks and take professional pictures, whatever, baby announcements. But my thing is, how can something like the price of that go up? Right? You already have the camera equipment. I don't think you're paying cast members more. So that's why I say some of this is demand driven, because otherwise, how does something like with Savi's, you can hide under the idea that, the parts for the lightsabers have gone up, the shipping costs have gone up. But there's nothing about Capture Your Moment that you can say reasonably. Did the cost of the castle go up that you were taking a picture in front of? Did are you charging for that now? I need to understand.
Yeah, no, I agree 100%, and I'll throw it to you, Stephanie, to talk about this as we wind up the price increase. But we're going to go into the Genie price increase in a second. But for me, the whole thing is, of all of the price increases, and this went up $20, just like the Savi's. This is an expensive one, like you mentioned. And the pack, I was shocked to know that the photos aren't included. Like, what?
I couldn't believe that.
Yeah, that's like we're gonna sell
By
you
the
a
way,
wedding
it's going
cake,
to
but
cost
we're
you
not
like
selling you.
169 or 199 if you don't buy it on time. So it's not cheap.
Yeah,
Get
you
him,
want to
get him,
pre-purchase
Kamila.
that.
I'm just
I was gonna
saying.
say it's like buying a wedding cake and then them going, "Oh, the icing? Nah, that wasn't included.
Right.
We just meant the cake." But when you go in and you look at this one to me hurts a little less because I feel like it's more of a concierge level thing. You don't have to do this. And
Right.
so this is not one of those things like you were talking about, Stephanie, like Savi's, and they throw that on and you already have your kids are all excited, and you can't cancel that if your kids are already excited, even if you want to. I mean, you could, but I mean, that would just be heartbreaking. So in something like this, it feels like, little kids hate to have their picture taken. So if you were like, oh, sorry, we can't, take you and stand in like an hour, like 20 minutes out of your vacation to stand in front of the castle and take pictures with some stranger. Okay, thanks. I mean, so to me, this one feels more of a concierge thing that like, I get why it's a nicer upgrade thing, and maybe it's not as essential, but it's still, that's an incredible price increase. What were you going to say about this, Stephanie?
Oh no, I just barely slipped under that mark. Apparently, I bought mine for my December trip, and then like 2 days later, it went ahead and increased. So I was lucky in that. But I know, but I agree with Kamila. They should have given a 60-day in advance and say this is an announcement for December prices will increase when it comes to Savi's and the Droid Depot and that kind of thing. So they should have at least honored the people who had already been in the parks and made that reservation for a 30-day period or something at the original price. But it's a great add-on, like you said, Rob. It's not a necessity, so you just add it on to your trip. I think that it's become harder to get. I did this a couple of years ago, I guess, when they first came back from COVID, and they started doing this because they don't have the professional photography back out there, the fine art photography for families. They just do it for weddings and engagements and that kind of thing. So, but this is a nice add-on. I don't think $100 is that it's too much when people are really wanting that. Like you said, Kamila, it's becoming more popular. But again, what's the ceiling? Like they're going to keep pushing it until they get to that point where demand drops back. So,
all right. So, go ahead.
Really quick, can I just say one last thing on the price increases? Because to me, the cruelty of this is the way that they did it and who they're doing it to, right? I like going to Las Vegas, right? It's another one of my favorite places. Obviously, this is an adult playground. Nobody is crying for people who are going to Vegas for how much the hotels there have gone up, even at crappy hotels that no one actually wants to stay at. But at Disney, these are families. And so for you to literally say, guys, tomorrow, or excuse me, ladies and gentlemen, tomorrow, all of these costs are going to increase, and screw you if you're currently here. Hope you have, some money to literally feed your family. Like, I know how much people pay attention to costs, and they try to estimate how much they're really going to need for these trips. I've been in the parks and I've seen the fights that couples have over how much money they are spending, right? It gets expensive quickly, and it's hard to really try to understand before you get there what a Disney vacation is really going to cost you all in. And so to just say, starting tomorrow, all of these things that are going to impact a lot of people around the parks are going to have a cost increase with no chance to, prepare. I just think that's terrible. And to do that to families, right, which I still very much think is the target demographic for the Disney parks, despite, all of the alcohol they keep adding everywhere. I just don't think that's right. I don't think that's right. And I feel like the cruelty is also in how they did this and how quickly they implemented it. And that, to me, says something about all of the executives that were a part of this decision.
They're trying to increase earnings.
I knew that I had your tag right for tonight, that you do have some stuff.
Oh, no.
Honestly, yes, all of the things you said. And by the way, David said in chat something I was thinking, not ladies and gentlemen, it's now friends, because we have to be.
Oh, you're right, friends.
Yeah, exactly.
Hi, friends.
Hi, friends. And they say, we won't get into that. But I do feel like that when you're talking about like all of these price increases and things like that, one of the things, this is a story that makes me look super bad probably, but my wife, we used to go and I would pay for these, we'd do like one sit down meal a day on a trip. And it would be a big deal. And we go, okay, where do you want to go? Liberty Tree? Where do you want to go? Here, there. She found out that she was gluten intolerant and she started to need to look at menus. Well, menus have prices on them. She hadn't looked at the prices before. This is going to blow everyone's mind, but she is the one responsible one, I want to say. And so when she starts seeing that and she's like, good Lord, like the prices on this. And I'm just like, okay. But I mean, it's that magic breaking thing, right? Like we want to go and we want to have that magical experience and we're willing to pay at the moment. We don't want our kids to be upset. We don't want our families to be upset. And then when we leave there and we get the bill, do you remember when they used to hang the bill on your door?
Yeah.
Yes.
I don't get up first, but I would have those would be the days when I would go and I would grab that thing and just go, I don't, nope. You don't need to see that. I will make this happen somehow because I want this magic for everybody in the family and we all love it. But I think
one of the things with cost certainty is the dining plan really helped with that. So before, I went on a game show and had a lot of disposable income. We still managed to go once every 2 years, but we paid for it slowly in advance and we got the dining plan. So the only thing that we were dealing with was alcohol and souvenirs, and everything else was a fixed cost for us that we had already paid for. So, there's a lot of things that they've taken away that gets people's cost certainty. And I didn't think of it until I got on with this panel, is that they didn't give people a chance to cancel. With a lot of stuff with Disney, the prepaid meals, it's really, man, I can't wrap my head around how many meals you actually have to prepay for. It's ridiculous. And then you're going to increase that? Man, come on.
All right, so we're going to move on to the Genie Plus thing, but this has been kind of a beating, so I think you need a palate cleanser. Come on, take in these sweaters, folks. Look at this. Oh my gosh, this is fantastic. Look, let's all be happy for just a moment and bask in these sweaters. This will never happen again. This is a once in a lifetime moment, and thank goodness you're all here to
cute
experience
sweater.
it.
I'm not going to lie.
Absolutely. Patrick, you and me next time, buddy. You and me are the sweater folks, and they can have the golf shirts. It's fine. Yeah. All right, so let's talk about Genie Plus. As you know, if you've watched this show, I have a problem with Genie Plus. Patrick, he gets in there, he's just throwing money left and right. And so paid Lightning Lane's the part that I have the worst problem with, but just in general, Genie Plus. So they've made this announcement that for Genie Plus, and it seems to me to be a very staggering thing, is that the Disneyland Resort is raising the price by 25% of something that is already unreasonably high. And you don't get the top tier. You're like, great, I'll pay it and I can get Radiator Springs Racers. Oh, I can't get Radiator Springs Racers? Oh, I have to pay more for that one? It feels like, with Max Pass, at least, people who were in Disneyland and had Max Pass, were able to get everything. And if you were an annual pass holder, you could pay one price and get it, because you pay for the highest tier, you get that and parking and other things. But for this one, that's part A of this, is how incredibly high this is for something that already is pretty high price. And if you watch Disney or WDW News today, you know that Tom said he suggests you don't pay for this. That the Genie Plus is a thing you shouldn't be doing, especially in California where they have so many attractions. You have 55 attractions in Disneyland Park alone. You can find things to do that you don't have to do that unless you just need that, those big attractions. As part of this, they've thrown web slingers into it, which they should have done a while ago, honestly, because web slingers is not that long a line. Don't get started. Don't get her started. They threw Ratatouille. They threw Ratatouille in at Epcot when they brought in Cosmic Rewind. So, this should have been in there a while ago. You should only have Radiator Springs Racers in this paid. You shouldn't have any, but web slingers should have been in there already. But the thing I really, I don't know, that really hits home for me in this is, on top of me not loving Genie Plus, I really don't like park passes. The park reservation system is a very brutal system that we've all had to deal with. And so this new pricing focuses on when you have surges, just like Uber. You have surge pricing because you have busier times of the year. Wait a minute. you have made a park pass system that eliminates busy times. You told us that. You said this is benefiting us, this park reservation system. And now you're telling me that you're going to charge me more on days that may appear to be more prevalent days, holidays, etc. But you're not allowing more people in, are you? Or did you lie to me? Like, see, that's the part. Patrick, tell me, I mean, am I off base on this? I mean, I'm glad to eat crow here.
I don't know. I think about it all the time because, like you said, you don't use it. I do. The price increase is pretty ridiculous. Dynamic pricing is everywhere, though. So, like, you know, if you're going to a Red Sox Yankees game, it's going to cost you a little bit more than if you're going to, like, you know, Tampa Bay Rays Miami Marlins game. There's different levels, and everybody does fluctuates their prices. I mean, the Baltimore Orioles make their money when the Red Sox and Yankees come to town, and they creep up their prices for that. So I get it. I understand and I see it. At the same time, it just feels like, where does it end? I paid $14 to go on Guardians or whatever it was, and I'm cool with that. I paid to go on Web Slingers. I'm fine with that. But I don't know, man. It's just like, at some point you're diminishing returns. At what point is the dollar that you pay not worth your entertainment, not worth your fun, not worth your time? Think about that way. You know, you're exchanging time for money here, and that's kind of where you're at. But when I was at Disneyland, I still used, I guess I used the Lightning Lane. They didn't have
but Lightning Lane for, right, but Lightning Lane for Rise is now $25 there at a base, right? And so, like,
that's crazy.
People $100 just to ride one ride.
I mean, you know what I paid on my birthday, so everybody could ride.
I do. I flame you about that constantly. Yeah. But Kamila is bursting to talk about something here, I think.
Well, here's the thing. First of all, Patrick, I just noticed you have the Baymax S'mores plushie, and I'm going to need you to send that to me, like, immediately. Because that's the one that I want.
Mine.
And I can't find it anywhere.
I grabbed it out of a child's hands. I pushed the kid over.
Send that to me immediately. I want that. I want that very badly. No, look, I just want to say something, okay? And this is also very serious, okay? Because I feel like nobody listens to me and nobody takes what I have to say seriously, and it's not fair. But what did I say? Last time we talked about Genie Plus, what did we talk about? We talked about the fact that they took away the ability for you to add Genie Plus to your package. Okay?
Yes.
And what I said is, by the way, what's coming next is variable pricing. And where are we now? I mean, listen. Disney, you know, I will go on your payroll, though, you know? No. I think...
I don't think I'm allowed on the payroll for the things I've said.
No, but in all seriousness, this is exactly what I expected. I think it's terrible because now, once again, what did we just talk about? The fact that people are trying to budget and they can't because you just raise prices overnight. Well, now with this, I mean, I haven't looked at this, but are they even telling us what the Genie Plus price will be? Like, can I go look at my trip in a couple of weeks and figure out what my cost will be? Or do I just have to wake up that morning and find out? Because if it's wake up and find out, that's not a good solution, Disney. And I will say, something else I have also said as we've had conversations about Genie, because I'm like Patrick, I'm going to buy it and I'm going to use it. And I'm not proud of it, but I also buy the Lightning Lanes. I don't think they're worth it necessarily, but I mean, you know, I don't live near the park, so I'm only here, you know, so often. So that's kind of my reasoning. And I think a lot of people fall into that. But I also understand where a lot of families that work hard, they can't just spend $125 to ride Rise of the Resistance. It's good, but it's not that good. Okay, spoiler alert. So the only thing I want to say about this is, I've said that I'm not surprised, because if we look at what Universal does, Disney is leaving money on the table, okay? Universal will charge you $300 per person in addition to an expensive one-day, two park-to-park ticket, okay? And no one says a thing about them. And if you think Disney didn't see Universal doing that and say, I'd like to get on that too. I mean, hello, do we know this company at all? However, what Universal does do, and I'm not saying this makes them a saint, okay? But Universal will let me know how much an express pass is going to be on any given day. So at the very least, I know going into it, it's going to be $300 for me to go today, okay? Disney, from what I can tell, is not even doing that. And I hate that this is variable pricing. I hate what Disney is doing. It's expensive. I want everyone to be able to go to Disney. I want it to be affordable. I don't want people to take out mortgages. I wish it wasn't like that. Okay. But until we get to a place where it's better, this is where we are. But so, how can we make it better? At least let people know what it's going to cost ahead of time. Don't create these numbers, the day of or the night before. That's ridiculous.
Okay, first of all, Kamila came to play. I'm loving all of that.
I'm sorry.
Secondly, we have a super chat here. What about the entitled model who wanted a refund on her VIP
I saw
tour
that.
because she didn't get walked onto rides? And Walt's tour is $160 for 90 minutes. But don't forget, you get to eat on his patio. You get to desecrate his Never mind. That's a me problem. Sorry.
No, but really quickly to that point, can I just say VIP tours sell out. VIP tours are actually extremely hard to get. So we can talk about, how ridiculous the price of those is. And I will say, I hear more bad things about VIP tours than I hear good things. The number of guests who have literally asked for a refund or asked for a new host, that's a thing. And I don't know what's going on with that because I've never had the privilege to do a VIP tour. Again, Patrick, I'll go with you and your family. I'll watch your kids. But
I know.
But I just it's fascinating to me, one, that they don't seem to have raised those prices, but also, to me, why would you do VIP tours when Genie exists? I just don't even know. It's literally the same line. Anyway, I'm done.
Yep.
No.
I ran into a VIP tour in Guardians, and I looked. I'm like, what the hell are you guys doing here? Don't you go somewhere else?
That story was so interesting, and I think it speaks to the fact that people don't seem to understand what VIP tour really is. Whereas me, I see them in the Genie Plus line with me all the time. I'm like, you're in the same line as me, and I didn't spend $4,000 to do it. So really, I'm the smart one. Just saying.
Well,
or maybe I'm the poor one. I don't know.
I do want to thank Beverly for the super chat. We appreciate it. And then we had a follow-up super chat from Jungle Cruiser. Beverly, to the new Walt's tour. It's worth the money. Got to spend an hour in Walt's apartment and balcony. Was amazing, and I'm still blown away at what I saw. Don't get me wrong. I worship the man, the myth, the legend that is Walt Disney, and I would love to do that. But something about it is weird to me about having Mickey bars on his patio. But at the same time, and again, I mean, I love that people get a chance to do that. I would be in awe of that whenever I was in the Tennessee State Museum and seeing a couch that was 200 years old, and I'm just like, I don't get it. That's fantastic, but it's set aside and roped off, and it's don't touch. But I guess you can't. I mean, they've already said in the past that Disneyland is not a museum, right? That it is a living, breathing thing. It's always going to grow and change, and this is part of that. Is that people get to come and see Walt's apartment, and I love that. I have not taken that tour. I would love to do that at some point. So again, Jungle Cruiser, Beverly, thank you guys for the super chats. But Patrick, I think you wanted to say
adding
something.
to that VIP tour money for us.
Well, and I will say there's a difference between the Walt's tour and the VIP tours, which are to take you on attractions. Yeah. So there's different types of tours, and the price range is $160 for the Walt's apartment, that kind of tour, the Keys to the Kingdom or whatever it's called, versus a VIP tour is an all day thing, and that's $4,000 plus.
Well, it's minimum 7
variable,
hours.
So.
It's minimum 7 hours, and it's variable pricing, like you said. So if you do it during a party, like a Mickey's Not So Scary or a Very Merry Christmas, it's upwards of $800 an hour. So, and that's not including tip. But I will say this, that a little bit different than at Universal, because Universal does a group VIP tour, but you can also do individual private VIP tours there too. They will take you through the exits to get onto some of the rides. Disney, there's maybe 1 or 2 rides that they can do that on, but they really don't do that for, like you said, the majority of the lines are through the Lightning Lane lines. And at Universal, of course, you have your Express Pass, which, Rob, you're talking about the Max Pass over at Disneyland. Compare it to the Express Pass at Universal. I mean, you're getting, like you said, Kamila, you're getting your pricing up front. You know how much you're going to pay, and you can use it on every ride. I don't think, except for Hagrid's was the only ride that you couldn't use it on at first, I think.
Well, they still do variable pricing on that, though. They still do variable pricing on that based on the season. Because,
but ahead of time.
Right, exactly. You go to a chart and you see, hey, if I'm going on June 13th, it's going to be $100 more than if I'm going on February 20th. And it's very expensive, though. When you look at that price on the Universal one, it says $89. You're like, oh, cool. I can ride everything that may be worth it, and I don't have to worry about, upcharges, blah, blah, blah. But then you have to buy 4 of those, and then that's the base price. Really, you're paying $200 for each. Wow.
Right.
I mean, it gets out of control. I've done a VIP tour at Universal. I've never done one at Disney. I've also done the RIP tour, and it's not bad. It's not bad. I'm going to say it's kind of nice to be able to be like ushered around, and especially like you said, they don't do it with the houses. They take you right in the front of the houses at the RIP tour, but with the VIP tour at Universal, there is a little bit of release discretion where they bring you in the back entrance and you kind of get some behind the scenes, and then they like take you and put you on the back of it. And kind of like Patrick was saying with Cosmic Rewind, you may turn around and go, where were they in the line? I don't remember you being out there for 2 hours in the heat with me. Okay.
Real quick, Chief Leaf said something smart in chat, and it's that all these price increases are fine if we were seeing something on the delivery end. My trip to the park was the dirtiest I have ever seen the parks. They were filthy. And I saw a ton of custodial cast members, and I saw them working their tails off, and it just did not seem to be enough. There's not any reward. It's just price increase. There's no reasoning behind it. And that's why we feel it's greed. You're not saying like, hey, here's this attraction that just opened, we're going to bump prices up. It's like, no, here's all the same crap. More money, please.
Exactly. If the service was there, then you would say, okay, maybe we would suffer through that a little bit more.
Yeah. So I think we're, again, I think we're all talking about the same thing. But again, I get that it's a business. Understand that completely. You don't have to explain capitalism to me. Got it. But when it comes to Disney, it feels like, they've already, as you guys have talked about, set a premium price because we have a premium expectation from them, and they've already set that premium price. To go in and then up it again and again and again, and it seems like the screws keep turning. And they keep taking, to your point, Patrick, it's not just like the upkeep of the parks or not getting, the 11 animatronics or whatever we were supposed to get for Cosmic Rewind. It's not just that. It's the taking things away. Yes, you have an annual pass. You paid more than you did last time, but we give you less access because of park reservations. Or we're now blacking out dates in California. Or we don't give you Max Pass, or we don't give you parking and you're still paying more and more. We don't give you Photo Pass. You have to add that on and add that on. Some of those things you don't get to add on anymore. So it really just feels like I mentioned earlier that it felt like you were part of a family and a community with them, and you wanted to help them out. And it's like, let me not try to like get over on you, Disney. Now you're almost encouraging that, and we've seen it with things like people bringing in their own food, people sneaking in their own alcohol, people who are sneaking in children, like things like that. Like people who go, my kid has been 2 for 4 years at Disney, like that kind of stuff. Hey. Oh, sorry. Did I blow up your spot? I'm sorry. Sorry about that. Sorry about that, Mr. Smith. But I really, I mean, I don't know. Let me get final thoughts from everybody, and we'll start with you, Pat. Actually, let's start with Stephanie and work our way around, because can't wait for final thoughts from Kamila.
I just feel like what's the limit? When are people going to say enough is enough? And like you said, we're fully invested. Obviously, my family's fully invested. We haven't been back since February, had a baby, but we're planning to go in December. So, we're throwing more money at Disney, and as much as I can, I try to hit up other people and encourage the fan community, like I said, through Etsy or Carousel of Products, instead of buying things at Disney. But yeah, I mean, we're bringing in our food, we're doing things like that too to cut costs. I like a good deal, and Disney needs to bring back the service aspect, bring back things like, I know that they're doing Disney Plus, subscribers get a discount at room, so that's nice, I guess, but they could still do the discounts for dining, and annual pass discounts can be increased without hurting too bad. I think they're just trying to increase their earnings, keep up with inflation.
Gotcha. All right.
Aren't we all?
Right.
Can we please stop and like people acting like we're idiots and we don't understand how things work? We get it. We understand supply and demand. We understand how economics works. There's not stupid people on this channel. WDWNT exists to report news on the Disney parks. In addition to that, we offer our opinions, and at many times, this network has been a positive influence for change in the parks. That's why we're here. That's why we're doing this. This is why we come on here and do these things. This is why you have an entire show of Jason Divendahl ranting about stuff. We're here because we know how it works, and we want things better. We don't want crap. My daughter literally came out of the companion restroom at Pinocchio's Village House in tears because she couldn't hold it anymore, and she had to go back in a diaper, and she did not want to go in that bathroom because it was covered in poop. That's the stuff that we want fixed. We'll talk a little bit later about this bowl and all the nonsense that goes on with that. We get it. No one here is stupid. Stop. Like, we know we're part of the problem. We understand. La la la. They're sold out. Crowds this, crowds that. Yeah, I get it. I get it all. You're not making any new valid points. All we're saying is this company needs to be held to a higher standard because they are supposed to be the pinnacle. They're supposed to be the paragon. They're supposed to be the ones that we look at and say, hey, this is how business should be done. They're the ones that came into our living room every single Sunday night with Uncle Walt there. Even Iger was there talking to us. This is a different company, and we're mad. And we're not stupid. We're mad and smart, and so we're on a very popular area talking about these things and talking about the visibility of it. It's enough. Like, stop defending a corporation that doesn't care about you. They don't care about you. These CEOs don't care if you drop dead. You're just a number to them. Why do you want the Disney company to make more money off of the backs of other hardworking people? It's ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. I get it. I understand. I'm so sick of seeing it in the chat. Oh, credit card this, credit card that. No. We want Disney to be better. I'll pay that price. I'll buy this merch, but make my experience good. Do something more than you're doing now. Be a better company.
Wow. Okay. All right. Kamila, follow that.
Patrick, if you don't send me that Baymax s'mores right now, who cares about Genie? I want that s'more. No, I'm sorry. No, I really do echo Patrick's sentiment. And I think the thing that's interesting about he and I, we're fine with Genie Plus that it exists. I'm not saying I love it, but I am saying I will buy it. Okay. I have not been to the park since it has existed without buying it. Okay. I will pay for that lightning lane and I won't even think twice. Listen, I was buying express passes the second I realized they existed. Okay. The first time I went to Universal, he was like, oh, do you want to add this pass that allows you to, skip the lines for $150 more? Yeah, I do. Yeah. So I'm someone who recognizes the value of something like this, right? But I do agree that on the one hand, initially, I thought Disney priced it a little low, right? I thought at the prices they were offering, everyone was going to use it. And I do think that's part of the problem is, especially in Disneyland, a lot of people are using it. And having been there recently, the Genie Plus lines sometimes were worse than the standby lines, right? Which is ridiculous. No, that's not really a consumer problem, though. That's a problem that Disney has to figure out, right? Get your times correct. Don't punish us because you can't figure that system out, because the pricing is not really the issue. It's how many people they're allowing to go at a certain time, right? Or maybe it's how many rides are going down. And so therefore that, pass turns into a universal and now everybody can go to, any ride they want and they're all going to choose Space Mountain or whatever it is. There's a lot of issues that Disney has to resolve. And I think at some point, some of the revenge travel is going to end and people are going to get frustrated with the prices, whether or not they can afford them, right? It's all about what you're willing to pay for something. And I feel like as we look at not just, Disney or not just going on vacation, but everything, I feel like we're seeing this very broadly, right? I dropped my car off to get serviced on Friday. I haven't even heard back from my service associate about what's going on with my car, right? And this is from a dealership that I used to trust and that I've always had great service from. They've now had my car for 3 days and I don't even know if they've looked at it, and they haven't even bothered to contact me, right? I'm in the middle of building a home. It was supposed to be ready to go in January. I just got an email on Friday, hey, it's not going to be ready until May. Right. And, no real explanation, no further information. Just let me know if you have any questions. So I feel like we can't, if we let these companies, they will absolutely take advantage of us. And to the extent that they keep merging and having all these mergers and acquisitions, and there's less and less competition, that means there's less places that you can go to try to find good service. Right. And so when we bring it back to Disney and we think, well, this is a vacation. Look, I hear from people every day who just want to get away from all of the problems of, everyday life, right? They want to have an escape. But for people who don't go to Disney often, they have to figure out what Genie Plus is, and they have to figure out how to purchase it, because now you can't include it with your package anymore. You have to purchase it in the morning. Then they have to figure out how to use it. And anyone who's been in the parks recently, you see people in these lines who have no idea what's going on, right? I was shocked at how many people could not understand what a return time is. So the process is not working. And originally, I've been one of the people who thinks, I don't have a huge issue with Genie Plus. And I'll be honest, it has worked well for me when I've used it. But I also recognize I understand how to use it. And I was familiar with this type of concept from MaxPass. But the difference with MaxPass is you did have the free option also. And so I don't know, the more I get feedback from clients, the more confusion I see. And I work with a lot of people who are first timers or new to the parks or trying to figure it all out. And it's painful to see people who have paid for a 2-bedroom club level suite in Animal Kingdom Lodge have to be stressed about Genie Plus prices and, oh, this is an additional cost. And why is it so much more expensive for, this lightning lane for my party of 7? It hurts, right? Disney has to figure out a way to show some kind of loyalty and care to the people who are spending all of this money in their parks, or eventually people will start to do other things, right? Borders are starting to open up. You can go to Tokyo again soon. Europe is extremely cheap, right? The dollar against the euro and pound is incredibly favorable. People are going to realize there's a big world out there. And you know what? I hope they do. I personally am going less, not because I don't think the magic is still there, but just because it's woken me up to the fact that I can have a great time these other places too. And so I hope Disney can find a way to get back to great service. And one of my favorite books, if you really want to understand what Disney is supposed to be, right? There's a book out there called Be Our Guest, and it's all about how Disney delivers excellent customer service, all of the things that they used to do. And what's so sad is most of these things, I don't think they do anymore, right? So just, I hope they can figure out a way to turn the ship around.
Can I just say one more thing? I know I already gave my final thought, Rob. I'm sorry. I thought of one more final thought. Give it 6 to 9 months. My husband, as you know, works in the financial field, and he thinks we're heading into a recession if we're not already there. And I think maybe their price increases are to try to hedge against that. And they're thinking, well, demand's going to drop in the next 6 to 9 months. So maybe that'll decrease some demand, and prices will have to come down. So people will want to get back to the parks.
Yeah. I was going to cut to commercial break, but I think we're going long, so we're going to plow through here. But I will take a little bit of first of all, here's that book that Kamila was talking about, the Be Our Guest.
I really like this.
Yeah, so I mean, you can. That's something that you can do. And since we're not going to do an actual commercial break, I will ask if you guys. I'm gonna give the panelists a second to breathe first. But I'm going to say that. Thank you guys for being with us tonight. We really appreciate it. We break the show up, if you haven't noticed before, into our pressing issues part where we talk in discussion mode, and then our short form where we go around the hub, TM Patrick Hackett, and we talk about Disney Parks news. So we're going to do that in a second. But one of the things that you can do to help support the blog is we have a product line on carouselproducts.com. And 2 of our newest are a reprint of the "If You Think This Is Good, You Should Have Seen Horizons" shirt in black, and then also the Tomorrow's Harvest T-shirt, which is based on the land and attraction that I was lucky enough to spiel on back in the day. So both of these are available at carouselproducts.com if you want to take a look. Tom mentioned on news today that Disney's prices have gone up. Ours have not. Our T-shirts are still $20. They're a great bargain at that price. So hopefully you guys will pick a couple up. Help support the blog. But again, we don't make anything we don't want to wear. The Horizon shirt is one of my favorites, and it's kind of come full circle now that Star-Lord is all about Horizons and veggie, fruit. So with that said, let's go into some park news. Like I said, we're going around the hub. The pass holder gate. I have issues with the pass holder gate, but apparently, number one, it's returned to the Magic Kingdom so that you can go to the pass holder entrance at the Magic Kingdom. But they also had put up these new mysterious signs at Epcot and at Magic Kingdom, and then we found out that that this was actually to be a placeholder to slide in the pass holder entrance when they're open, because they're not always available and accessible. So my problem with the pass holder gate is my own. So I'm going to go to Patrick and ask you, do you think this is a good perk?
Yeah, I want my own gate all the time, and I hope they have different ones where it could be pass holder and DVC. And heck, why don't we get a WDWNT staff gate so we can all just walk in, and they'll actually know, who to watch out for in these situations. Tom Corliss goes in here.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I guess so. But the thing, never mind. I'm going to hold my tongue on this one. Stephanie, is this a good thing? Are we excited about this?
I found that these tend to be longer for some reason. I don't know. We'll try to go through these, and it seems to just be one of the longer lines because they only have like two of the little turnstile thingies there. I don't know, the touch points. So anyway, I don't know. We use them half the time, maybe. I didn't know it went away, honestly. When did it go away?
I don't know. It wasn't away for long, but it's back. One of the things about this, you're right, it is only a few touch points. I think that my son liked going through here because he thought it was like a baller move, like make way, annual pass holder coming through. But yeah, I agree. Sometimes, I'm a passive least resistance driver. If I get to traffic, I go some other way, even if it's going to take me longer. And it's the same way with the gates. Is I get there and I assess quickly, like what's the shortest line, and then you start to head for that one. And no offense, Stephanie, but 90% of the time, some stroller gets right in front of me with 18 kids at the last
None
second.
taken. Happens to me too.
You're like, when
my
it's
daughter
not
in
you,
that stroller
it
is a
drives you
weapon.
crazy.
Yes.
Kamila, is this a good perk?
I mean, I'm happy for pass holders, which I'm not one anymore. But my thing is, can you even become a new pass holder anymore? Still no. Right? At both,
Not yet.
So I mean, I don't know. It's just interesting to open this up at a time when you're not accepting new pass holders. It would be cool though if they opened it up and then they had something special for pass holders, like, oh, here's a magnet or a pin or just an extra special hello, anything. Otherwise, I would just choose the shortest line regardless. It's not cool.
Yeah, no, agree. So here's the thing for me is that there's no discriminating about annual pass holders getting in there. I think if you walk up to it, they don't really ask you, are you an annual pass holder? When you had Magicband 2.0, they had like the little sliders, and they would send you with your Magicbands that had the annual pass holder on it, and you could rep that a little bit. But you're right, they're not selling new ones, so why is this a good perk? And also, I don't usually go through that gate because it's usually a longer line. And the advantage to it would be if it was only annual pass holders and you could make that happen, that person knows what they're doing when they get through.
You hope.
So yeah, that's
Yes.
that's the thing. And again, no offense, because it's a complicated system. Anybody who hasn't been or it's your first time, that's great.
Mm-hmm.
But if it's annual pass holder, it should be like, what you're doing, you get through quickly, it works out better that way.
Yeah.
Popcorn buckets. I put on here buckets for me to hold nothing because I don't ever want there to be anything in my popcorn bucket.
It's so fun eating out of a Skyliner, man. Just sitting there, a Skyliner. I felt like a giant.
Did you put popcorn in your Skyliner bucket?
Yes, because I'm not a maniac, Rob.
I mean, we're dressed alike, but we're so different.
You know,
I don't know if I put
you
any
know
in
what?
Mickey. I think Mickey might be clean. Hold on, let me see. Where does it even? I don't even know where the popcorn goes.
What-
Yeah, no, Mickey has not had popcorn in him. So
as again, you're the one that yelled at me for opening up a resealable pop box, one that you could open,
How dare
put it back
you.
in, no damage done. You're the one who yelled at me about that. You don't put popcorn in them. Sorry, Kamila, what were you gonna say?
No, I was just gonna say because I have the Donald Duck candy corn, and this is reminding me, and I could have been like sipping out of him during the show. That would have been so perfect.
Wait, again,
That's all
you're
I
putting
had.
stuff in it. No.
Okay, but
Uh,
because I'm a psychopath, I have two: one for use and
Yeah.
one for show. Thank you.
That's what I was gonna say. Yes, that is what you do.
wait. I think it was in She-Hulk where the guy says one to flash and one to stash. And I was like,
That's right.
That's right.
That's
that is
good.
my mantra all the time. I mean, again, I think back to that SNL bit with the grown men collecting Star Wars figures. I got three, one to open, one to keep in the package, and one just in case. And the little kid goes, "In case what?" Like, I mean, but yeah, absolutely. So I acknowledge it. It's a problem that I don't want to solve. And here is this new Zero popcorn bucket, which is amazing looking. They're selling them
So
at
cute.
Disneyland. You can
So
get them
cute.
during the day. And again, I'm looking at this going, where does the popcorn even really go?
In his bag.
Because it's like, I mean, it's hardly any room for a popcorn lid to be in there with the lights and the fixtures and the mold and all that stuff. I saw Desi in chat asking anyone who was going to the Not So Scary if they could get her a popcorn bucket, because on the East Coast it's only available during Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween party. On the West Coast you can get it, I believe, anytime at the popcorn
Much like
stands over there.
everything, it's better on the West Coast.
Right. One thing they've always done on the West Coast too is they've had exclusive annual pass popcorn buckets, and we got word that also that's another thing coming is these new annual pass holder Mickey popcorn buckets. We don't know what it's going to look like. There was a neat little video of Mickey popping up behind the popcorn, so it is again something that they always do in California is they have the annual pass holder exclusive popcorn bucket, and the Magic Key one is this kind of, I don't want to mess the trademark iridescent, but it's a shiny, rainbowy, cool Mickey balloon ear. But there have been some really cool ones in the past. I think there was like a Steamboat Mickey one and a couple others that they had that were exclusive back then. But the exclusive popcorn bucket thing, I think, is a nice little perk again for annual pass holders. So Stephanie, do you have a popcorn bucket problem, or are you sane?
Oh, I do what Kamila does. I keep one for the stroller, and I just show the cast member and say, "Where's my popcorn? Dollar refill or whatever."
Right?
And then I keep the other ones, the nice ones, at home. That's totally what I do.
Yes.
Ah, good times. All right, so the Grand Floridian, I don't know if you guys have heard of it or not, but they've gone through a lot of changes, and I know
own
that.
there.
Oh, excuse me. Oh, so sorry. You're so preppy. So the Grand Floridian, they've done some renovations, and I know that we've already talked about the Grand Floridian DVC, and I think if I remember correctly, Stephanie had some issues with that, but
Yes.
they've renovated these rooms and the lobbies, and they look very nice. But this is one of those things they're saying they're Mary Poppins themed, and I'm like, are they? They're very nice, but this is not, again, this isn't the kind of thing that I look at and go, hey, that's definitely Disney. This could be pretty much anywhere. But, the other thing that is unrelated is that they have this Haunted Mansion display at the Grand Floridian. So I think that's kind of cool. But I think the hotel rooms are the big talking point here. So, Stephanie, what are your thoughts?
I'm not really a fan of whoever is in charge of the soft refurbs that are going on throughout. I think they're totally, missing the mark when it comes to these period pieces and period hotels. But especially and then at Poly too, they're going to be putting something in, and I don't like the loud carpet and the loud wallpaper, and I guess that's on trend. I don't know. But I mean, come on, the pillows, how long are those really going to be there? Like, I just anticipate those growing legs and walking away within a month, getting resold on eBay, prop pieces from the parks. I'm not encouraging that, not at all. I'm saying, Why would they put
Well,
that
if
out
people start doing that, what they'll do is they'll take them all off the beds, they'll put them in little bags, and they'll sell them at Galaxy's Edge when you order a drink. And so then everybody has their
there? We know where to find you,
stuff there.
Rob.
Yeah,
Behind
Patrick,
the-
you're flexing a little that you were a member. Are you happy as a member here?
I actually think it looks really nice. They do have a little bit pop of Poppins in the back with the concept art. It doesn't feel Grand Floridian, though. I think it's very nice. I think it's soft. I think it reflects kind of what they're going for the resort, but it's not distinctively Disney. And I felt in the poly refurb that it was still distinctively Disney while also being contemporary and on point and on, trend of what's going on now. This feels a little too cut and paste, like we saw with Creations and Connections, where it's just very white and bland. I like it though. Like, I don't want loud in the Grand Floridian. I just wish it had more Disney touches.
Yeah.
Okay, can I just say, so Patrick has terrible taste, so let's forget what he just said. If you saw this decor, if you saw this decor at anywhere that wasn't called Disney World, you'd be like, I'm not staying there, okay? And I think a ghost lives there, okay? There's no way. And that hotel would have like a 2.6 out of 5 rating, okay? I'm sorry. This is where Disney gets way too much credit. That is horrible. And you can do so much better. And the fact that this is what happened after the refurb, not before, y'all should all be ashamed, okay? Everybody should be ashamed. And also, hire me. I feel like I could literally do better, and I'll make it more Mary Poppins-like.
You would.
Please.
I would do that. Hire her.
Yeah.
I don't know if you know this, but being on this network precludes you from ever working there. I don't even think like my friends at ESPN are allowed to state that they know me.
That's for different reasons, though. So let's talk about something positive. I'm very excited about this. Is that there's new little touches that have come to Frontierland. There's this really cool little Patrick. I don't know if you went over and took a look at this or not.
I didn't see it.
Okay. So there's this bulletin board that's kind of out of the way, a little area that they took a lot of time for that didn't necessarily, it wasn't important to anything. It was a nice little, what we've always looked at as a Disney touch. They put some little Easter eggs all over this board that refer back to Disney movies with a Western theme to them. This is one of those things, and again, I heard Tom say this on News Today, and so I want to kind of echo this, is that this is one of those touches that in 1971, when they built the Magic Kingdom, it felt like it was more of a little bit of a fair, and you can kind of still feel that when you're standing around the carousel. It's still Disney, it's still, nice, but they don't have those little touches, and I think them going to the mat to add these little touches in here has just been a really nice touch, and I'm using the word touch too many times. But Stephanie, I mean, is this the thing you would take time out of your day to go look at? I mean, is the juice worth the squeeze here?
Yeah, I think I would go and look at it once or twice, show friends and family that are with me and kind of, get that lore and around where you are. But I think they're throwing the super fans a freaking bone here, and Kamila's our soothsayer for the Disney pricing going up, and Tom and everybody who do the great commercials are the soothsayers for the Disney Sea new shows that are coming out, right? So they're throwing the super fans a little bit of some good things to look forward to, I guess.
Yeah. Kamila?
So, okay, I totally agree with Stephanie. I think this is lovely. More stuff like this, I think, is very much appreciated by the super fans. However, my one thought, okay, so initially when I saw this, I was like, oh, that's so nice. I love that. And then immediately I was like, but wait a minute. Didn't they also just bring the tours back? So my thought is, what if they added something like this to have like a stop along the tour? I don't know. I haven't done the tour, so I don't know. But maybe I'll see if I can sign up and I'll report back.
I have a good keys to the kingdom person if you're looking for one.
Okay. All right. So let's talk about lounges, because I got to tell you, lounges were something that I never really did a lot of. Because, when you have little kids, that's not where you don't go hang out in the lounge. You hang out in Cosmic Rays, right? So when they were doing some reviews of the lounges, and I know that Tom and Nick went and did a review of the Wilderness Lodge, the Territory Lounge, which, just looking at this makes me go, okay, this is the place I need to go. There they look, how happy they look there. But really, like, these drinks with, the fancy drinks and the marshmallows, like, it's so well themed. Not cheap, obviously, but these drinks look amazing. And then the popcorn that they did, this popcorn sampler looks like huge. Our good friend Jake was nice enough to take me on a little bit of a lounge tour the last couple times I've been there. And one of the places we went was the Ale and Compass, and they have a bread service.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. I was like, bread service? That's Sanaa. And he's like, no, wait. And it's like these little rolls, and they have these 3 different types of butter. And I'm just like, this is fantastic. I've been missing out on a whole piece of Disney World, really, honestly, because it's like, everybody says, well, loungers are great. Loungers are great. That was my takeaway. What I want to do is I want to get, like, from each of you though, like, what do you have a favorite lounge? And I'll talk to Stephanie on this one first. One that you've been to or that you recommend to people.
Nomad. I love Nomad, and you can get food for the kids and everything there too. You can make it a meal, and it's a beautiful little location. You could ask to be seated outside, so that you can watch the flotillas as they come by, and it's a great place. I love that one.
Yeah, Patrick, you got to have a favorite, right?
Oh man, what's Territory Lounge? I was a little bit nervous when I saw the menu change. And then they really put the important part there. The mushroom soup is still there. That's very important. It's a great place to just sit and take in what is one of the underrated resorts at Walt Disney World. Wilderness Lodge is such a great place. I was talking to Dawn earlier in our Wigs Cord, patreon.com/WDWNT. And some of these prices do have sticker shock. But if you're going to like a nice, comfortable lounge here in the Northeast, this Northeast quarter, these prices are reasonable. And they're giving you high-end cocktails for that. It looks fantastic. The other one I wanted to shout out is because I know you all always tell me that I'm giving it a hard time, but the Turf Club Lounge over at Saratoga Springs is really great. It's a nice, relaxing atmosphere. There's a pool table, good drinks, good snacks. So those are 2 that I trend towards.
Kamila?
Yeah, I don't really do lounges. I think the only one I've been to ever is Nomad Lounge. And I don't really have thoughts on it. It was cute. But I will say, this is the place to raise prices, Disney, okay? That little trio of popcorn for $12 should be at least $25. Hello?
There you go.
Hello, okay? Like,
Yes.
Charge these people more. Yeah, how is that $12? That should be $35,
Stop that. Don't help.
Let them
No,
It's going to
I-
happen. She said it.
other
It's going to
things.
happen now.
No, I love that.
No,
I love that idea.
lower the others and then raise these.
So one of the ones that was in the news was the very first one I ever went into with our WDWNT fam was the Bellevue Lounge, which I was like, I don't even know what you're talking about. It's a little tucked away in the boardwalk, and they've apparently put in what they're calling stylish new furniture. I thought it was pretty cool the way it was. It felt like more of a kind of a like a library, like like I was in some rich person's library. Like I was in Patrick's library. And so when I go, no, okay. But when I was in there, it was like, okay, this is kind of fancy. It's out of the way. It's a nice little bar. It doesn't like break, anything with like, kids or there's no reason for kids to be in here. So it's a nice little place. Some of the stuff in the parks feels like it's kind of, in the way, but this one's a nice out of the way place. So I would recommend this one. And then the
Gurgling
other one,
Suitcase too. I don't know if that counts as a lounge or just a bar.
That's Olivia's?
No,
I mean, not Olivia's.
Yeah,
that's,
it's outside of Olivia's. Yeah.
Key West. Okay.
Yeah.
But the other one that I've
Just
never
came into my
been
head.
to, apparently, which just updated their menu, is this one, the Enchanted Rose Lounge, which I know, was it Misner's? Meisner's? What was the name of the
Meisner's.
original? Meisner's Lounge? I
Stephanie
never
with
went.
the boo.
Oh yeah, Stephanie, why do you hate this so much?
It's not continuity with the hotel. You put a French provincial whatever, 1700s France in the middle of a turn of the century English style hotel. It makes absolutely no sense. It was just a money grab. It was Cheapek, and his great ideas, which are never great. And so there you go. That's my take on it.
Wow, that was rough. Since
bring back the orchestra.
Yeah.
Since we're running out, I'm going to skip over these two. I was going to mention that there's more 40th anniversary merch that has come in late for Epcot. We talked a little bit about it on News Today.
Literally after I left, like minutes after I walked out of Epcot.
Oh, really?
News story broke. Yep.
But Patrick, if you need money for this 40th, merch, I will take that Baymax s'mores off your hands.
I got a text in the middle of the show, and I don't usually look at my text because it's usually not anything. But it was from my wife, and I'm like, "Oh God, is something wrong with the kid?" And it says that s'mores Baymax is not going anywhere. That's my 9th anniversary present. That is my 9th anniversary present. She got the iridescent Starbucks tumbler. Those were our gifts to each other. Yeah.
Nice. Well, one thing. So one thing they had during the 40th, like the day of, was they had a pin from each country, and I thought that was really cool. And it's got the character with it, and it's not something that's like day of only. It's something you can get anytime. But we'll talk about the 40th. That the fact that they have these light up ornaments for the countries.
Maybe.
I don't know if that's the problem, but I'm going to stop showing stuff. So.
Maybe.
I don't know if that's the problem, but I'm going to stop showing stuff. So Kamila was going to show something, though. What were you going to show?
Yeah, So I was going to say, I like the ones that are more like this. Like, this is the Grand Californian ornament. Like, they could have done this for the World Showcase, and I just think I would have appreciated that so much more. And you know what? I would have paid more for that, too. That, what you just showed, I'm not paying for that. But if it looked more like this Grand Californian one, I mean, I'll pay $30 for that.
Yeah, so the Christmas ornaments that they came up with, what I was going to say was that they remind me of the Merry Menagerie ones that they had last year. And I don't know if they're going to do those again this year, but the Merry Menagerie ones, it made sense because they're supposed to be very organic and they're from the animal kingdom and all that. So that makes sense to me. But you're right. Like this particular brand of ornament, which I'm not going to show, but you hopefully saw before, it feels like it doesn't quite fit the whole rest of what they were doing with the Epcot stuff. The one thing that I thought was pretty amazing was that Epcot figure that was the ball with the light up, the little LEDs on it, and Figment stretched out at the bottom there. I thought that was really, really cool. I think it was like what, $125?
I have that one.
Would not
have the ornament.
I have the ornament.
Yeah,
but it's kind of like this.
Okay, hold on a second. Let's get that.
Okay.
Sorry, it's a little blurry.
Wait, see, so Figment's on top.
Up. Yeah.
Very cool. So the other thing, Figment's at the base, but on the ornament, he's at the top. Yeah, I love it.
Yeah. Me too.
Patrick,
I bought it.
Maybe y'all can do a trade. Maybe you could trade her.
No, that's my Baymax.
I mean,
and look at this little guy.
She's got the ornament. You have a Munchlings problem.
But I can get that on Shop Disney.
I don't have a Munchlings problem. Yes. I got another one getting delivered with the rest of my merch. Look at how sweet it is. And it smells like spearmint.
The Baymax is sold out everywhere.
Yeah, I know. I grabbed one. I know. Like I said, pie-faced a kid. Just get out of here. I'm being part of the problem, even though I rant and rave about how much it costs. Give me that thing.
Yeah. All right, let's soldier on to Fantasmic, because before D23 we were told, hey, guess what, guys? Come to D23. We'll have snacks and we'll tell you when Fantasmic is coming back. And then at D23 they didn't tell us when Fantasmic was coming back. And then we heard later, guess what, guys? It's coming back this year. Okay, wait a minute. So October, November, December. When does that happen? And then this week they were like, no, we got you. It's November. It's coming back November.
Down.
Yes, it's ridiculous. I mean,
okay,
I can't.
We raised prices, but we gave you back something that you used to have.
Right.
Here you go. Here's the thing that you were waiting for. We could have brought it back at any point in time, but how about now? Yeah. They better come back looking fantastic and having new segments. It cannot come back with this amount of downtime with the same show.
Well, they're replacing the Pocahontas one, with this
Yeah.
new like kind of inclusivity like scene that's going to be like a sort of an amalgam of other properties, which is exciting to see. And by the way, when I saw this come back at Disneyland in April, I was blown away all over again. I love this show. This one is exactly
It's so good.
This one pulls at my heartstrings. I thought before I resaw that show that World of Color was my favorite, but I think Fantasmic is my favorite current show that's happening anywhere. And so I'm excited to come back to this one where you can actually have a seat, which is the difference, right? They have all of this real estate that's taken up by this big, huge amphitheater, and you can actually have a seat and watch it rather than sitting on the ground or standing for hours to get a good spot. And, I'm excited to see this new scene that they've put in. So hopefully it will be good. But Patrick, let me stay on you for a second. You just saw Harmonious for the first time, and were a fan.
I really liked it a lot.
And if you check out his tag tonight, he asked for this. It says "Save the barges."
Okay,
like
those things
So, I mean-
are absolute engineering marvels. They're fantastic. You those need to have a use somewhere else. They're amazing. I understand the critiques of the show, and I think they're valid. It's not what we expect with Epcot. It is really just basically a pop medley. But we did have, the songs in other languages. So there is a little bit of that. It doesn't tear at the heartstrings like, Wishes did and Happily Ever After will again. So I see the issues in having those barges out there all the time, especially when I got stuck behind the drawbridge again for reasons unbeknownst to anyone. It's important that the criticism is there, but that's still a really good show. And those barges need to find a home and a usage somewhere, because to just scrap those that spray water and fireworks and video screens, man, come on. The other issue I will say about Harmonious is I went with a cast member friend is mine, and he would not let me stop until we got a perfect straight on view. And if you have to do that for the show, there's definitely issues. But man, it was a great show. And I love Fantasmic. I didn't think I was going to like it the first time I went to see it. It's literally one of my favorite things. Anytime I meet a Mickey at a meet and greet, I talk about Fantasmic to make them do the dance, because I'm a terrible person. I also like the dance.
Do other people? Let me, Stephanie. You've seen Harmonious. I mean, are you a fan? And also, what's your thoughts on Fantasmic?
I'm really glad that Fantasmic is coming back. I was waiting for this. I hope that we get to even do the show Fantasmic dining package, so that you get the primo seats right in the middle there in December when we go. But I'm interested to see what the new scenes are going to be. Like you said, Rob, they're including Moana. They're going to put in Frozen because that because money. And I'm hoping that they keep Pocahontas. I hope that she appears somewhere, at least on the riverboat at the end or something like that, because she doesn't need to just disappear. She needs to be there as well. So I hope that it's just as good as it always is, if not better.
Yeah, so I was going to say, not only was Patrick already starting to mess with our viewers when he said he was a huge fan of Harmonious and he wanted to save the barges, but then he goes in and says Illuminations is terrible. He's just
awful.
You're just
awful.
You're just
Every single person on this network hated that show until it went away. It wasn't until it went away that we all loved it again. It was boring. There was like a 10-minute stretch in the middle that felt it went on for an hour while the lowest tech globe opened up with terrible projections. That show was trash. The only
it needed to be
version was
updated.
a holiday
I agree.
overlay.
I agree.
Wow.
It needed to be updated. Yeah.
Kamila, we got to hear from you. What's up?
Look, I think Fantasmic coming back is wonderful for Hollywood Studios. Yeah, that's what it's called, Hollywood Studios. Sorry, I got confused for a minute. No, I really do think it's wonderful. I feel like it will help Hollywood Studios feel, I don't know, just more complete. It still doesn't have the Little Mermaid show back. So, more things that can come back to this park are wonderful. And Fantasmic is a big one. I mean, this is not just, like reopening Alien Swirling Saucers or something. This is big. It's a wonderful show. I'm excited for it. I will say, having recently seen Disneyland's, wow, I mean, that is worth the price of admission. And I paid more because I did the dinner package there also. So it's a wonderful show. Do not miss this for any of you who haven't seen it. It's worth, going to Hollywood Studios for if you're planning to skip it on an upcoming trip. Really exciting news.
Well, so there, Patrick, I'm with you. Like, I look at these things and I go, how could you possibly take these huge monolith pieces and just trash them, destroy them after not even a year, right? Or basically a year, 18
bring
months
them to
maybe.
Springs, bring them to Hollywood Studios.
But I don't
find a use.
But I'm
rework them into Paint the Night. Bring us back Paint the Night.
When we came in for Epcot 40th and I looked down at the, you can't not look at the barges because they're right there. They had the Epcot 40th logo on them and on the screens during the day. And I thought they looked amazing. I thought that the 50th anniversary logo looked amazing on them. So I know a lot of people are saying sightlines. Maybe it's just because and again, we kind of had this conversation with Alicia last week. I think Patrick, you may have been on at the time, is we were talking about how she loved the sorcerer's hat. And I was just like, what? And I think you commented, yeah. Did you also love the arm on top of Spaceship Earth? But when it's when you look at the barges, I wish that the fountain thing had worked out and it didn't. But I can't imagine. And someone in chat had said that they were permanently attached. Our sources are saying it's going away, and I'm just shocked that you would just pick those up, not use them as part of any show, and just delete them. I mean, maybe get rid of the Stargate and 2 of the barges, maybe, and then keep the other 2 for displays, because those are the things you can see from far away. You don't have to be, as you mentioned, Patrick, exactly straight on for the barges. It's just for the Stargate circle. If you want to see anything that's happening in there, you need to either be like in America, Morocco, or over by the where you come into World Showcase. So I don't know. I think that basically the Phantasmic thing, I agree with you guys. It needs to come back. I'm excited for it to come back. I hope, to your point, Patrick, that they've taken it to the next level. But we'll see when it comes back in November sometime. So, I mean, hopefully they have it in time for Thanksgiving crowds, because it would be nice for that to be a thing. And then the next question is it on Genie Plus?
Ooh.
I was just thinking, what if they're going to charge for it?
They had a fast pass. Yeah, they used to have a fast pass for it, so probably.
So is that a paid? Because you have to pay for the dinner packages if you want to be doing that, or is it? It'll be interesting to see, folks. Stay tuned. I was going to talk. We'll skip about that. This is something we've talked about, or I've complained about a lot, is that there's a lot of WDW merchandise that continually shows up at Disneyland, and it seems ridiculous that they would have it. They get Cosmic Rewind merchandise. There's a lot of stuff that they just get recycled over to them. But we talked about that we would say, talk about the holidays coming to Disneyland. This is a very magical time for me to be in the parks, is Christmas, because Christmas is already magical to me. Disney parks are magical to me. You put them together, perfect. And I think that the cool thing to me about what they do in Disneyland is there's a lot of stuff that they provide you that you don't have to go to a specialty party to do, like a hard ticketed event. It's already part of what you do. The parade, which is an amazing parade, that comes through there. I don't know. I love seeing. I've only done Disneyland once at Christmas, so Kamila, I bet you've done it more. What are your thoughts on the offerings this year?
Well, I was happy to see that the price of the Christmas party tickets was lower than last year, because I was in the parks over the holidays last year and I didn't go to the party because I just thought the prices were just way too high, and they were lower this year. I mean, they're still, I feel like, higher than normal, but better. And so I actually am going to the Christmas party this year, which is the one thing that I had never done at Christmas time. So I'm excited for that. Although I think we've already got the update that no special Christmas lights on the castle. So, that's disappointing that it's another year where we're not getting that. But no, I agree. I mean, I think the holidays is a really fun time to go to Disney World or Disneyland. I think Disneyland, maybe for me, feels a little bit more cheery just because you get the small world overlay at Christmas time, which is so stunning. If you ever have a chance to do that, also worth it. It is really, really well done. And I think they do more with the castle there as well. And then the parade, what I think is so cool about the parade is, like, for any of you who watch like vintage Walt Disney videos from when he was there, like walking around Disneyland, putting together the Christmas specials, you can actually see how, I think, despite some of the criticism of, more recent CEOs, so much of what was in the original, Disney when Walt was there, so many of those elements and pieces are still. Like, I was watching the Christmas special with him, and also an anniversary special that he was a part of, and it was just so cool to see, like, all these characters. Mary Poppins was there. If you go to Disneyland today, Mary Poppins is still there putting on a show, just like she did all those years when Walt was there. The Nutcracker is something that is, from when Walt was in the parks, and that he, was a part of bringing. And so to see, like, all these traditions that are still there over the holidays, there really is a lot that is still very much a nod to Walt's vision. And the holidays are a really fun time to see that come to life.
Patrick, you have not been during Christmas to Disneyland, I assume, because you just recently went to Disneyland for the first time. Just looking at the offerings, is there stuff here that makes you go, maybe I should go?
Yeah, so this is going to sound weird. The food booths. I just actually pulled the article back up because there was one that, two of them, Visions of Sugar Plums and a twist on tradition. When I was in Epcot, I was like, my God, none of these food booths for food and wine have anything remotely new. And so I thought it was really awesome that, something about Visions of Sugar Plums. If you've ever had an actual real sugar plum, it's a very complex flavor and has no plums in it at all. And then I think about a twist on tradition and all the fun stuff you can do with the traditional food of Christmas time and the holiday season, with Hanukkah. And I saw additionally, Disney's doing something for Diwali. So I thought that's really great. But man, I wish we got the treatment that California Adventure gets for food booths. Everything there seems really, really fun and new and different. The new Christmas outfits don't do anything for me, whatever. I'm not really a fan of character costumes except for Max being Powerline.
Yes.
Okay. All right. Well, I agree with all that. The food booths, though, I will say, like, the best thing I've ever had at a Disney food booth was the Nashville, before I lived in Nashville, but the Nashville hot turkey that they had at at these festival booths there. The one thing, though, I don't know if they do this the same as they do for the I think we may have talked about their food and wine festival. They have a horrible system, I feel like, where you go in and you can buy everything you want at one booth, and then you take your receipt to the other end of the booth to collect it, and then you take that receipt to the next booth to collect it. And it's just, it was so backlogged. I don't know why they do it that way. I prefer the way that they have it set up in Florida, where you queue up, you get your thing, you hand your receipt to the dude who rips it and yells something to the kitchen that seems to make no sense for no particular reason, and then he hands you your stuff. That, to me, I think makes I don't know. I like that system, but I like their food better. Like, they've had some very interesting food, so it's a give and take. Stephanie, have you looked at all this stuff? Is there something you could pick out as something that would maybe make you want to go to Disneyland for Christmas?
Yeah, I'm like you, Rob. If I'm going to Disneyland, I want to go during either Halloween or Christmas time because of the overlays, the decor, the decorations, and just the overall feel of it is different. And if I'm going to make the trip out there, then that's what I'm going to make it for, something a little something extra that they can give you with your regular park ticket. So I think the last time we were there during Christmas time was 2006. So we've got, it's been quite a long time since we've been out there, but it was really neat when we were able to go. So.
But some of the stuff that they do, and Patrick, you talked about like Diwali celebrations and things like that, they do an amazing job with, like, the Diwali and the Three Kings, Three Kings Day and Chinese New Year and all kinds of things that we don't do on the East Coast, that we get to see these special celebrations. And I think that's kind of amazing when they have all that kind of stuff mixed in. The closest we got to Diwali was whatever that bird show was at Animal Kingdom. They did an overlay version of that for
That was
Diwali
good.
once.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, but I mean,
Well,
I do.
they do have Festival of the Holidays though at Epcot, and that's coming back this year. I'm very excited about that with the storytellers, and each country has their version of Santa Claus, and it's really fun if you can go and listen to them for about 10 to 15 minutes, their speeches and everything. And some of them are really funny, some of them are very silly, and then some are more traditional. And it's really neat to see what the different cultural, options are for Santa Claus.
Yeah, for sure. I'm looking forward to that. We are going to go for the Festival of Holidays and be there right at the beginning so that we can do Cosmic Rewind with the one song, which I'm just never mind. We talked about that last week. So let me skip over to this because I think, Patrick, I want to get your opinion on this one, man. I don't know if you looked into this or not, but this they're doing this in the Disneyland Hotel, this Trader Sam's mixology seminar that includes a tiki mug. I feel like this is like your dream come true, or am I wrong?
So, as the many things, as I'm a very multifaceted person, I am also a certified bartender. So this is absolutely one of my dreams come true. While I was staying at the Polynesian, I occasionally wandered by Tiki Terrace. I occasionally wandered by Sam's. And I'm like, if there's not a wait, I can just pop in for a second. Shayna can take the CC somewhere. But, man, it was packed still to this day. Packed with long waits. This would be amazing. And I really, really love like tiki decor. It's just, man, I'm always priced out of it. A lot of the tiki stuff is very expensive.
So this one includes a mug that is an exclusive mug not sold outside of this experience. The price for this is $159. Kamila, is that priced right? Because you were talking about that popcorn being too cheap before. Is this priced right?
It's interesting because when I think about other things that you can do, and maybe in some cases these are more so open to people who are staying at like the Disneyland Hotel or the Grand Floridian, but you can actually book exercise classes where you're like walking through DCA in the morning and like exercising. And that's like relatively affordable. It's like $39 and you're literally in the park before it's even open, almost like it's a Run Disney, but it's not. It's just like you and a couple of other people getting your morning exercise, walking through DCA. So it feels high, but I also just feel like a lot of people will probably take advantage of this. It includes alcohol, and so I feel like you always pay a premium for that. Plus they're giving you this little to-go mug, I guess, to kind of help soften the blow. I feel like the reality is, even though that price point is high, people will do it.
Okay, and Stephanie?
I love a good cocktail, and I'm learning a lot from Liquid Magic segments, with Nick and Pete. So I think it would be something that would be fun to do with a group of friends, and I think that's a neat offering. Anything behind the scenes.
Very cool. So I agree with you. Anything behind the scenes, anything that's special and unique and different. But for me, I get out to Disneyland so few times that I'm not sure I'd want to spend my park time. Like already, I have a problem spending my park time at D23 Expo. It's like I love the expo, like the expo, but then I'm like, but Disneyland's right there. And so the idea of like, let me go down and do something like this. I don't know if you guys remember, there used to be a thing at Disney World that was called the Disney Institute, and it was something that was, it's now Saratoga Springs, but they would have this big thing where they would bring you in and they would teach you some of the things that Disney does well, photography, topiaries, they'd have some leadership classes, things like that. That is what this reminds me of, is like, if I'm going all the way to Florida, I'm not really sure I want to spend all of my time in classes instead of at the Magic Kingdom, but at the same time, it's a really neat experience. So I love this especially for locals. If there's somebody that like really wants to kind of get into the whole tiki thing, and I mean that to me is a neat thing. The bobsleds are back open. I think that's one of those things that is iconic. Drink if you have one. When it comes to the Disneyland experience, I mean, that's the one, right? That was like the first roller coaster.
It's the greatest attraction in any Disney theme park.
Yeah, and Patrick, again, you just recently went. Was this like first on your list to do when you went?
Yes, it was 100% first on my list to do. The wait was too long, so I went and did Small World and came back, which, by the way, there's no need for our Small World to exist. when Disneyland exists. Matterhorn coming back from refurbishment, I can't imagine how much better it looks because it was pristine, it was clean, everything worked, which was nice. I asked the cast member if we could borrow a Yeti. She said no. But no, it's seriously the greatest attraction in any Disney park anywhere. It's amazing.
Well, and the other thing is that if it's down when you're there, and that's the one thing you were looking forward to doing, that's got to be devastating. And that's the thing with Disneyland. A lot of times they'll take down multiple attractions at once because, again, a lot of times it's a locals park, and they think, okay, we're just going to take them down. They need to go down for refurbishment. We're going to take care of these things. And if that's the thing that's down when you're there, I can't imagine. But our good friend Charlie was there to make sure to get a picture of himself with the cutouts that they have available. Charlie never misses an opportunity to get a picture.
So true.
Kamila, talk about the Matterhorn.
Yeah, no, I mean, I think Patrick is exactly right. You know, again, I've really been watching a lot of like vintage antique Walt videos that I find on YouTube. And one thing that struck me so much is he was clearly so proud of Matterhorn. Like, you would have all these famous dignitaries from around the world, like literally I think that the Sheikh of Iran or something like that was there, and he would take them on the Matterhorn and stick them in these little bobsleds, and they're like heels and they're fancy clothes, and it was just the funniest thing. But he was so proud of this ride. And when we think about, you know, how to honor Walt's legacy, whether or not this is, you know, still a park that Walt would be proud of, that he would recognize, it's rides like this that actually existed that I don't think we spend a lot of time talking about or, you know, really honoring in the way that we should. And so the fact that, you know, whoever at Disneyland at least recognizes the importance of keeping it up and running, but also, you know, preserving the integrity of the ride. I do think that's really important because I'll be honest, as I've been watching a lot of these like vintage YouTube videos, it has really struck me how much Disneyland actually still looks like the way it did when, you know, Walt would walk through that park. And so, you know, this is an iconic ride. I'll be honest, I skip this because it hurts my back most of the time. Yes. But I recognize the importance of it.
So, Patrick was saying it gave him a little bit of an adjustment when he got to ride it. Yeah, it's like indoor Space Mountain. I mean, it's really like the Disney World one. So, I mean, I just felt like the very first time I was there, I had to ride it, and you love going through and seeing, you know, again, those little touches that take you back, like you said, Kamila, to the days of Walt. Let's move on real quick, though, and talk about the Disneyland Resort is now getting Magicband Plus. We know an actual date is October 26th, which is exciting, but also there's going to be a first look for you know, annual pass holders. Go figure that they're going to give them something. So there's going to be a first look for Magic Key, and I'm looking at this, and my first look says I need this because it's exclusive to Magic Key, and I want to have it, and I need it. I've tried not to have the same problem that I did with Magicband 2.0 with my with the Magicband Pluses because they're more expensive, and also I need to stop. But at the same time, they keep coming out with really good ones. Like that Epcot one, I had to have that one. Patrick, did you pick that one up?
No, it was way too much. See? Part of the solution.
But it was during AP 30% off time, so
Why do you think Baymax is sitting back here? $35 is ridiculous. What did I get him for? $27?
Yeah.
Right? Is that math?
I hate
that
you.
Sounds right.
You could have got two.
Poor Kamila.
So cute. I could not have. This is the last one I saw. It's so beautiful. Look at him. I got this little guy too, and then I got an ice cream one being delivered.
Can you move? Yeah. Keep your head there. Keep your head there. We're good. No, not there. No.
All right, so the Magicband thing. Back to me, Magicband. Eyes on me. So the Magicband, I'm excited, and I've talked about this in the past about it. That, you know, I know we're like, is it worth it to go Magicband Plus? The Magicband 1 and 2s are not going to work, which I find frustrating, like PlayStation backwards compatibility frustrating. But when you go in and Yeah, shady will work. But at the same time, the fact that you can use them on both coasts is kind of cool. But I like that they have some for the first time that are going to be Disneyland specific, because my catalog does not have Disneyland specific Magic Bands in them. But I do think that the use of it, whether it it goes to that level, and I think we talked about on a past ParksCenter whether it's like, is it worth it to take the leap from the 2 to the Plus? Probably not, because the things that you do with it aren't quite there yet. The glow with the show is a little off, and the waving like an idiot at the statues, just hoping they do something when you finally drop your hand. Then they start, and then you wave again.
God, it was so obnoxious. So obnoxious. Watching it during Harmonious was pretty great, though. I was just kind of looking at it. I had it up a little bit, and it was nice. It's cool. But sometimes it would vibrate randomly, and I'm like, what am I near that I
usually,
need to interact
exactly.
with?
Exactly.
Is something sneaking up on me? What's happening?
Yeah, I think that it goes off when you're leaving Cosmic Rewind and when you get near a statue and some of those things. So I do think there are some things they've added to it that are cool. Hate that you have to charge it, and I don't think that there's enough to justify the cost difference. But I do think in Disneyland, where they haven't had one at all, to me, and Stephanie, you can probably speak to this. Like, this is it's time that Disneyland gets this right, because it's become so much of our culture in Florida.
Yeah, I think it's time, and of course, with the Genie Plus increases and that kind of thing, they're going to want to, get that out to Disneyland so that they know when their Genie Plus Lightning Lane whatever is coming up. So we've talked about this before about the features. I wish that it cost a lot already, but it would make more sense if they had more features to it. Like I said, find my kid, like you find my phone, something like that. That would be great. But yes, I think eventually maybe they will roll some of these things out, maybe more interactive elements, within the park that the kids can kind of do like a search and find kind of thing. That would be fun. I think it's time that they did this. And of course you're going to want more than one, Rob. You're going to want to have each exclusive one that comes out.
I kind of want all the Disneyland ones.
Yes.
And then that's it. And then I stop.
Well, do it on your pre-order, right? Like with your hotel room, go pre-order. True. And you get it discount.
That's a good question. Will they start doing that at pre-order for the Disneyland hotels, because they've never had to do that before?
They got to. Yeah,
okay.
I think they will.
All right. Well, I'm down. So
ask Kamila, she knows.
Kamila,
I was just thinking, Rob, maybe if you weren't buying $150 Magic Bands, Genie Plus wouldn't be such a painful thing to purchase.
Yeah, Rob.
That was my thought.
But here's the thing, though.
Problem too.
Here's the thing, though. You're right. You're not wrong on the merchandise thing. But the thing is that, like, the Magic Band is kind of a choice for me, whereas they're making it difficult with and you know what? The Genie Plus is the easiest one of the choices to forego. And again, Tom talked about that earlier. It's the easiest one to forego. But I do have a Magic Band problem, and I'm trying to be better about it. So thank you all for being part of my therapy session. So let's talk about something else that we talked about at the top about, like, I hate the pass system, and apparently so does Paris. And
yes.
And they're finally kind of doing something about it. They're planning a yellow in, I think is what we're going to call it. They're all going to dress up in yellow mouse ears and yellow and meet. And apparently, like, a couple hundred people have agreed to do it, and like 1,500 people are interested. I assume that was Facebook math. I don't know, but they're going to go and they're going to, like, kind of raise a ruckus, because the annual passes, it's worse there for annual pass holders with the park reservation system, because you only get 3, and then there are also some, I think, blackout dates, and then on top of that if you stay in a hotel, you're guaranteed one. So, like, I know that when our people have gone over there, they've had to stay there. So, Kamila, do you think
Viva la revolution.
Yeah, right. Kamila, do you think that's going to make a difference?
Wow. Okay, so I missed this story somehow, so I apologize. But my initial reaction, here's what I need pass holders to understand. And I feel like I can say this because I was one and I'm no longer one. You are not in power, okay? You're not the CEO of Disney. Okay. I don't know if you know that, but, like, I'm imagining a situation, and I know they can do this because they did it to me technically. if they want, they can just disable, your annual pass, right? Whether it's linked to a Magicband, whatever your mechanism is for getting in, they can recognize you're an annual pass holder and be like, you know what? No, they can turn off the program at any time and just give you a refund. Okay. Like, I don't know. Look, power to the people. Absolutely. Okay. However, I don't know. It feels a little weird that in a time when, I don't know, I'm concerned about gas prices, I'm concerned about egg prices, Disney is a choice, and as a pass holder, you already get a discounted ticket for how often a lot of you go. That's just my honest observation, right? Especially at Disneyland. I know people that go 5 out of 8 week, right? Pop after work. You can't tell me a great price. I don't know. I don't feel bad for annual pass holders.
I'm sorry. This has got to come. I mean, we have to talk about this immediately. We just got a super chat. It says $9.99 to go towards Rob's Magicband Plus fund from WDW Mickey. Thank you so much. We appreciate it. That's as they've said in the chat. That's very kind, very sweet. Thank you so much for that. And yeah, so
he also needs money for his Genie Plus fund.
Yeah, exactly. But we also have this one for Patrick, $4.99 from CK Barry. I'm saying that right. Yes. Hang in there. Thanks to all for Patrick. Hang in there. Thanks to all the hosts. So we appreciate you guys so much and thank you so much for the super chat, CK Barry, and for WDW Mickey. You know what? I'm not sure I'll see any of that money, but I will make sure to respect your wishes and go and buy another Magicband. Thank you. I appreciate that. So anyway, I'm sorry to have interrupted that because that was a good speech there. I don't disagree.
No,
I don't disagree.
I just want to end it with, and I say this like I'm coming from a place of like I just bought Disneyland tickets, right, to the tune of $500, and I know there's some of you out there where your entire annual pass was like $1,200. Okay. And that's with minimal blackout dates or whatever. So like you're asking, like, I just keep hearing these pass holders complain about every little thing. Like you don't have a discounted ticket. And I'm jealous. I wish I had that, but I don't. And so it's just one of those things where like sometimes it's a little hard for me to swallow because I go to the parks a lot too, and they're not selling, annual passes to anyone new. I don't know. It's just one of those things where like, look, I want great things for pass holders. I don't want them to suffer. But I also am just a little tired of some of the complaining from that group in particular, because the rest of us out here are spending a lot of money and we get less than a lot of you. We don't get magnets or pins or special lines, okay? And I'm out here paying full price.
I deserve what I get.
While I feel your pain on that, I got to say again another special thank you to WDW Mickey for Rob's Genie Plus fund. So thank you so much for that. I appreciate that. That is awesome. So thank you guys so much for the super chats tonight. We do appreciate it. We appreciate you. Here's a screen grab that I found of the let me find it here. Of the Facebook page. So on the 22nd, Saturday, they're going to have. Look how angry the Parisians are. They're not happy. They're not happy.
If this cuts out the park pass system, though, aren't we all better for it? Like,
Hell
if
yeah.
we hate the park pass system, if that revolt actually spreads and we can, get Disney to hear us, that would be fantastic. Do you remember, Rob, when you were working there, does anybody remember the extra fee that you could put on to the extra cost that you could pay for a non-expiration date ticket? Like you could buy any number of days. I would buy like a 10-day ticket or a 12-day ticket and pay that extra fee for a non-expiration, so that you could use 2 days and then you could go back 6 months later and use the rest or however many. So I think that would be great if they brought that back too, and then pass out the door.
I'll do you one better. They used to have a thing where if you bought a 4-day pass that they were good forever, and so you didn't have to use them sequentially. Then they sort of, like you said, they had the add-on where you could pay for that. And then they did the length of stay thing where it was like while you were there, it was still good. And then anarchy.
I mean,
after
doesn't
that.
Jason have an annual pass that he got when he was first bought a DVC?
Right.
Like, we can talk about the good old days all we want. We're dealing with this reality, and I think, like somebody said, if it gets rid of the reservation system, I'm all for it. It's not controlling crowds. I have no idea what it's doing.
No.
My guess is it's allowing them to deploy staff in the most efficient way possible. That's the only thing I can possibly think of.
Yeah.
I disagree.
I mean,
I get what you're saying, but like,
Yeah.
I still feel like we're, to your point about the not enough people to clean up the park, not enough people to seat you at a restaurant that looks fairly empty, like, but yet you still can't get a reservation. Jake and I
that was
went
real weird.
into Nine
That
Dragons.
was real
and
weird.
we had to like kind of fight to get a reservation to go in, and when we got in, there were literally 7 parties seated in the entire place, and it just was like, okay. So I think that I don't think they're distributing cast, and I don't think they're distributing supplies, which is clear from some of the stuff that sells out like that. I don't know what it is they're doing with it other than making our trips a little more difficult. And for someone, again, Kamila, I'm sure that you've had this experience, people who are new to the Disney experience and having to go, okay, Universal doesn't ask me to do this. Dollywood doesn't ask me to do this. Six Flags doesn't ask me to do this. Disney does. Disney's the only one that does it, and they do it worldwide. So, I mean, it's a very frustrating thing, the park passes, and we've talked about it all, over and over again, and I can't wait to see what comes of this. I hope so. To Stephanie, your point, I hope that if they can, make their mark, that then their changes can happen, and then maybe they can work on that Premier Pass / Genie Plus system and see if they can get something going on there. The final thing for the night is a wild card, and I feel like, Patrick, you had the wild card for the night, my friend, and you've got the story, so let's have it, brother.
Oh no.
So I rolled up to Fort Wilderness on the last full day of my vacation, and I texted Tom. I said, "Hey, power's out over here. I don't know if this is a story." And then I dropped it in our work Slack, and I'm like, "Yeah, I don't know what's going on. They haven't really said anything, but the power is out." And my seating at Hoop-Dee-Doo was delayed. Some people left, which I don't know if they got refunded because that is something you pay for in advance. Some people went to the food truck, which was the only thing that had power in that area, which, by the way, that food truck in Fort Wilderness is so cool. I think that's great. The window at Crockett Tavern was still able to take payment, so I was able to get a couple drinks before dinner. And about, I want to say like 7 o'clock, they said if the power didn't come back on by 7, they would, 7, they would cancel the show because it wouldn't give them enough time to do it. And then the 8:30, the power came back at 7. I think we were sitting at about 7:15. We're waiting and waiting for the show. Salad's already on the table. No show. Piano player, banjo player, no show. They come up and they do like 5 songs, 6 songs, and that's it for us for tonight, and walk off stage. I'm like, all right, that's weird. That's not the full show at all. And shortly after that, one of the managers came up and he's like, "Hey, I understand that this wasn't, the Hoop-Dee-Doo review that you paid for." And I'm thinking compulsory refunds for this were coming. No, he holds up this bad boy and says, "Well, we decided to give you something to take home. These bowls, everybody wants them. They're part of the history." And I'm like, "Oh, does it have like Hoop-Dee-Doo review stamped on?" "No, it's a Bon Chef. Nothing Disney related on it." And then he came over to my table to deliver my bowl and says, "Really sorry. You can check on eBay for these bowls." I'm like, "Are you kidding me right now, bro?" So as this is happening, I'm like, well, this is a story now. So I'm taking pictures. I'm texting him to Tom. I got the Slack going, and I went and got my stroller, and I happened by the ticket window, and I just jokingly said, "Hey, is this the refund window?" And he goes, "Yeah, come on over." And I'm like, "Oh, it really is the refund window." So I went over there, and I'm like, "Are you refunding everybody?" He says, "No, they have to come up." I'm like, that's not right. So I got my refund. I got a receipt saying I got refunded. And then, because I'm very loud and boisterous, I shouted at the top of my lungs, "Hey, everyone, for the 6:15 show, go over to the window and get your refund."
Good for you.
Some people did not go and do that. A person I ran into on the bus said they did not even get a bowl. All of this story is firsthand. So people who are questioning the validity of it, no, it happened to me. It's a real thing. No. So yeah, it's happened in the past where they refunded it. And then I was like, I'm really kind of aggravated about this trip and how much I've had to pay. So I went in the chat and I'm like, this is not okay. I said, a bowl is not the solution to this. And people should not have to work for their refunds. You should treat your customers better. And then they gave me Genie Plus for the next day, which it would have been $22 if I would have bought it. So that was nice. I'm still not thrilled because the fact that a cast member thought that this was okay and also thought it was okay to tell us that they were clearing us out so the next show could happen without issue really wasn't great. Like, I couldn't shove strawberry shortcake in my mouth in the 10 minutes they give us to finish dessert. So for everyone who's saying, oh, you're part of the problem, yeah, I get it. I am. But I'm also going to be the one that's going to tell the rest of the world that this bowl is not worth what I paid for at Hoopty Doo Review, nor did I get what I wanted in a situation that I had to prepaid it 90 days in advance.
But they gave you a free $22 thing that the day before would have been cheaper than that, and then on top of that cost them nothing. So
right,
what do you want?
Right. I want justice. Justice is what I'm looking for.
You will find none here, sir. You will find none here.
I also complained that they have no idea how their online ordering system works, because I was at Pinocchio Village House, which, God bless me, I don't know why I ate there. It was just the closest place. They are having orders that are for people who are not here yet, and they're putting them under warmers, and they're not feeding the people who are at the counter. I'm like, you have to be able to process that. You need to understand that having a backup at your counter is not worth getting those people. It was mind-boggling. And then I was like, because, man, listen, I treat cast members amazingly. I don't yell. I don't scream. Luckily, this was over the chat in the app. And the person was like trying to explain things to me. I'm like, I understand all of this. Much like I've told you in the chat, is I understand this. I have a pretty high IQ. I'm pretty brilliant. I don't know if you've heard about, the reason I have all this money is because I won money on a game show that requires you to be smart. But go on and tell me how I don't know how things work. Also, when you give the person who has the camera and the microphone, that's a former professional wrestler that is going to get a chance to rip you limb from limb, I'm not the one to come for. Not me. It's not the right person. I'm from the Northeast. We don't deal with this crap. So the person told me that I didn't know how things were working at Village House and this, that, and the other. And I go, oh, that's great. Hey, where can I escalate this to? And they said, you have to take it in Park. I'm like, that's going to take me a lot of time. What can you do to help me? Nothing. And I'm like, well, how about you give me information on how to sell my DVC? And they gave it to me. I'm like, oh my God.
Oh, wow.
That is just shows how not valued we are as the customer.
Wow.
By the way, as per Jake, you saw I changed your tag.
Was
Bowl of Justice. That's awesome.
If my lovely wife says that I can, this will be auctioned off for charity during the marathon. If she wants to keep it as a souvenir, I understand.
You know what that reminds me of?
With Baymax.
Do you remember how DirecTV didn't value their customers that they had, but they would always be nice to the ones that they didn't have, and so if you called them and complained about NFL Sunday Ticket costing too much, they would then give it to you for free if you went like 3 layers up.
Yes.
And then eventually one year I called them and I was like, I want to cancel, and they're like, okay. Do we want to ask? Nope, we're good. We'll cancel, no problem. And so at some point they just went, nope, we don't want to try to get retain your business. So that is a little bit frustrating of a story, Patrick. And you know what? Again, thank you for sharing with the group. Hopefully it was therapeutic for you as it was informational for us. Okay, cool. We've gone way over tonight, but I've had way too much fun as well. So I want to thank everybody on the panel here tonight for being on. We are going to do a post show for our WIGS members. We love our WIGS, the WDWNT Interglobe Society. Check us out on patreon.com/WDWNT. You get great things, including a post show for News Tonight and a post show for ParksCenter that we will do right after this. But everybody's been here for longer than they should, so we'll probably have a brief one. But we want to make sure that everybody gets a chance to say things about Patrick's bowl situation. But thank you guys so much for being with us. If you have not already and you're still here, thank you for being here late on a Sunday night. And please give us a thumbs up, as it helps people to find us, and tell a friend. We'd love to have more people on here. We've enjoyed the conversations in the chat. So, and again, thanks for everybody who did a super chat tonight. So, we will have more in the post show. We will have Patrick and I are going to be back again on Wednesday night this week, and we're going to be doing Toy Story. Yeah.
Awesome. I just had to make sure.
Wow, you scared me. You scared me.
No. I didn't know if it was this Wednesday or next Wednesday. I got to make sure I watch it.
Toy Story of Terror on Deep in the Plus at 9 p.m. Wednesday night, so please join us for that as we continue spooky season. Charlie and my good friend Cam were on last week for we did Werewolf by Night, so hopefully you guys will check that one out. That was fun to do with those guys. And then our good friend from ParksCenter past, Allison, she will be back to do Maleficent the week after. So as we close out spooky season, and lots more stuff coming up there. Again, News Tonight on Thursdays. Every now and then we got Boxed In on Fridays. We got ParksCenter Sundays. Disney Entertainment News Today on Tuesdays. And Deep in the Plus on Wednesdays. Please subscribe if you have not. Thank you again to everyone for being here tonight. We appreciate you so much. And we will see you real soon.